Welcome. Welcome, Chris. Welcome, Chris. Welcome, everyone. We're all just logging in here. We're going to get started. Before we go too far, I am going to pause us for a moment and ground us. So if you are comfortable, Derek, if you can keep an eye on our waiting room, I will go ahead and actually, I'm going to go ahead and start. We do record these, guys. So we are gonna be recording. So if you do not want to be on camera, no worries. But we are recording. All right. So get comfortable in your seat, in your chair, in your bed, on your couch, in your car, wherever you are, just settle into this beautiful moment right now. And if it is safe and you feel comfortable, please go ahead and close your eyes. What I know right here and right now is that Spirit, God, Mother, Father, Yahweh, this thing that I call the Divine One, has its being in and through all things. Every grain of sand, every blade of grass. This infinite omnipresence keeps all of the planets spinning, keeps the rhythm of the tide, the rhythm of our hearts, the rhythm of our breath. This thing that is life operates in and through me and in and through each one of us here tonight. I call this time together sacred. I honor what a gift it is to pause on a Sunday evening, to wrap up our weekend, to begin our week together in holy community where we can share, where we can connect, where we can laugh, where we can ask the real uncensored questions, where we can dive into the topics that matter most to us. And tonight we can be available for the mystery and for the miracles that arrive when we leap into the unknown. I know for our time together that what needs to be said is said and what needs to be heard is heard. And so it is. Welcome everyone. I am so excited to share this evening. We are live here on Zoom as well as Facebook. We are gifted tonight with the amazing Derek as our technical support. So if you are in the chat, Derek is here to support and moderate your questions and get them to us here. So don't hesitate to drop those in. Tonight, we are joined by a phenomenal panel of what I consider absolute rock stars. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Audra Nichole, and this event is hosted by Spirit Uncensored, your spiritual playground. I am so excited to be here tonight. Reverend Karen Frost is here with us in spirit, though her and her magnificent wife are celebrating their anniversary tonight. So we will not be blessed with their beautiful faces, but they are here in spirit loving us up. So tonight's panel consists of the amazing Reverend Dan Granda. Give us a wave, Dan. Dan comes to us from Florida tonight. He is a rock star next gen leader, and he is a very newly licensed minister, but he is moving and grooving, hitting the ground running, doing some amazing consulting work, some supportive work for centers, and he and his team have an amazing community called Soul Evolution, and I always mix up the last word. Which one is it, Dan? Collaborative. It's also collective in my brain, so either way it works. So Soul Evolution Collaborative. Be sure to check that out. We also have with us tonight my sweet friend Jazmin Steele. She is one of my personal sister mentors. I have had the honor and privilege of watching her grow for about 15 years now, and just getting to love her up and share life with her. Her and I are in a women's self-care group once a week that she actually leads because she's a badass like that. She is an author, speaker, and coach. She has done the deep work. And I'm really excited to be here, for her to be here with us tonight. She is coming to us tonight from the beautiful San Diego. And then last but certainly not least, we have the phenomenal Luchan Baker. Luchan Baker hails to us tonight from Oakland, California. He too is a rock star in our movement. He is also one of the newest members of the Next Gen Retreat team, and he is just a pleasure to work with. So I am super, super excited to be sharing time here with these rock stars. As y'all know, tonight's theme is based off of the guide for spiritual living this month. We did go ahead with the theme. Well, they said stepping into the unknown, but we don't step around here, we leap. So we are leaping into the unknown. So tonight I would love if we'll go ahead and go around the room. And for our panelists, I would love for y'all to share with us tonight. Tell us about the most recent time that you leaped into the unknown, and tell us how that unfolded. Who would love to go first? Luchan's going to go first. Go ahead, Luchan.
The most recent time I leaped into the unknown.
Yep. What happened?
Let's see. I feel like I do it daily, being a father and and dealing with that. My children teach me so much about life daily, but I'll say the most recent time was when I was in a job that I really did not like. I had outgrown it. It no longer served me. Definitely, I was no help to the company I was at anymore. It was time to part ways. But I was holding on to it, believing that it was my source of supply. And was afraid to walk away. And I was resenting the job eventually. And that's always the wrong place to be, at least for me. And so what a voice came to me telling me, just like you came here in love when you wanted the job, you get to leave in love. Don't forget, in the beginning you needed a job, homie. You might be feeling yourself now, but in the beginning you needed a job. And I had to really check myself and humble myself. And when we had this meeting where they were just like, hey, what's up with your attitude? I came in there with my chest out, like, they're not gonna tell me how to adjust my attitude. And what? No, heck no, that's not gonna go. And I hear this voice telling me, pretty much the same way Kendrick Lamar would tell me to be humble. And I had to humble myself. And it was funny because as soon as I did, I felt my heart open up. It was a beautiful convo between the people grilling me, and we got to laugh. We got to remember what brought us together in the first place. And literally, somebody from my center at the time, we ran into each other at BART, and God told me, tell him your situation. I told him my situation, not even knowing he would be the CEO of the company I'm working at now. And long story short, within a week, he got me an interview. So that would be me leaping into the unknown.
Is that the same job you have now?
Yes, it is.
And how is that experience at this new place?
I'm loving it. Shout out to Al Gilbert. Shout out to Felton. Yes.
All right. I love that. How did it feel though in that, well, you shared with us a little bit that how often when our time is up somewhere, but we're not quite ready to buy into it, or we don't have that perfect exit strategy, or we can't quite see where to go next responsibly, right? So we just stay and do the right thing, all the while our soul is dying.
Oh, goodness.
Dying, right? It's excruciating. It's awful. You're nauseous. You're fighting with people. You're cranky. But yeah, this is definitely what I should be doing. I should be staying here. And then You just let go.
You didn't tell me you was gonna make me cry today. See? Yes.
Well, we don't call it
Exactly.
uncensored for no reason.
That's real. Yeah, it felt great. It really felt great. And like my grandmother tells me, there's no perfect time to go after what you want in life. That time never comes where it just opens up. There's no traffic on the freeway. Your boss is a nice person. Everyone in your family understands. No, that time never comes. And we have to be willing to just leap, like we're saying, to just leap. And in that leap, we're not saying you're not going to scrape your knees. You very well may not even land on your feet. You may hit your back, your elbow. You might end up on somebody's fail vine. I mean, it may happen. But we know that failure is the prerequisite to success. So it's just like, look, just hurry up and get ready to fail. Yeah, we're going to laugh at you. You'll be all right.
It'll make for good stories around the campfire, that's for sure.
That's it.
Thank you, Luchan. Jazmin, Miss Jazmin Steele, tell us your story.
Luchan, I'm already getting some good notes from you, brother. Thank you so much. I was thinking of, the most recent time I've leapt or leaped into the unknown, and I was going to, is it leapt or leaped?
Sure.
Either one.
Yeah. Same.
Same. It's all the same. That's in Thailand. Same.
Same.
I recently walked away from corporate America, and I definitely think that's a scary
conversation about
jump. Hey, David. That's definitely, I think, a scary jump for anyone, especially, when you're a parent, because you're not the only person to consider in those situations. And, as a young entrepreneur, I've experienced, leaving a job too soon, thinking that, my excitement, and I'm like, I got this is it. And then you find yourself, 3-4 months later, putting in job applications again, and feeling down on yourself as if you failed. And I think one of the things that I'm really learning right now is how important it is to change our perspective on the way we look at things, because you can look at one thing 10,000 different ways, and the way that you choose to look at it is the way that's going to lead you to whatever particular outcome. So if you're looking at it from a fearful place, then it's probably going to lead you down a path of fear. If you're looking at it from a faithful place, then it's going to lead you to a place of hope and faith. And so, leaving corporate America was definitely a way that I leapt into the unknown. But another opportunity, Audra, you mentioned it, with the self-care group that I've started with women on once a week. And when I started that group, I really started it for me. I needed to be able to schedule that self-care time as a mom and as an entrepreneur. And I didn't know what the group was going to turn into. At first I was like, okay, maybe this could be a networking group where women come together and network. Then I was like, maybe I should try to, facilitate this group and do it this way. And so, like, overthinking, what I wanted this hour to be for myself and for other people, and just finding that sweet spot of letting go, and allowing the organic nature of something to unfold and to take the pressure off of trying to make something fit into a box. And I would say, putting that group together has been a blessing to me, and I believe a blessing to the women that attended. And every week I leap into the unknown. Every week I'm like, what are we gonna do?
I can say firsthand, you did not schedule that group for you, Jazmin. You scheduled that group for me. You that was for me. God said, Audra needs this group. Jazmin, you're gonna start it, because, girl, I needed that. So sorry, gentlemen, but you'll just hold on for a second. So we started this group on Tuesday afternoons, and it has turned into the most rich group of women. We pause in the middle of the day on Tuesday and we love each other up, and we talk about the real shit. Like, we've been talking about imposter syndrome. We've been talking about marketing. We've been talking about challenges with partners and children and self-care and all kinds of rich, deep things. So for any ladies who are with us tonight, if you are looking for some rich soul sister connection, please reach out to Jazmin on her Instagram, Jazmin Steele, and I'm sure she would let you into that. It's a real special treat.
Yes. Absolutely.
Rev Dan.
Yeah, I feel like you're all telling my story, man.
Like minds, one mind,
Come on.
something like that.
Yeah, I was going to tell the story about the job. What do I say now? No.
I know, right?
So
We all have the same story.
find another one. Find another one.
Yeah,
I know you've leaped more than once, Rev Dan.
Right? Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. I mean, like Luchan said, I mean, it kind of feels like an everyday thing in a lot of ways. I mean, really, it's I think once you kind of wake up to this like inner, that thing that's in us that moves us, like that thing that's bigger than us that we find inside of us. Once we awaken to that, it's like you don't really have the choice other than to like you are intentionally moving in a direction or intentionally not moving in a direction. So it's like either way, there's something bigger going on here and we're a part of it, and so we're going to intentionally choose that or not. But it's kind of interesting. It started like this highlight reel of moments of like making that choice. And the first one that came to mind was maybe not the most recent, but probably one of the most important ones. And it was the first time I recognized like taking that leap, and this was several years ago, was in ministerial school fairly early on, and was just kind of like chatting with a friend back and forth a bunch. And we had visioned about our ministry and what it might look like. And it was like clearly down this path that we would never have chosen. It's like in school, everything was like, oh, well, you're either going to be, a pulpit minister, you're going to speak every Sunday of the year, or you're going to go start a new center, or both. And I was like,
that's it. Those are your only choices. Spirit was like, no, sir.
Well, and that was the crazy thing. So like, in my mind, I'm thinking, there's no way I want to do that. Like only that seems like very limiting. And I don't see that as really working for much longer in the way that we've been doing. And so like, it didn't make a whole lot of sense. But there was this clear push in this direction of like, yeah, good luck, buddy. You're not going to only start one center. You're probably going to start like a whole bunch. And yeah, like you're going to start a new way of doing that. So have fun. And it was kind of like this push.
Yep.
Right. And so it was like not as much of a leap as it was like a stumble. But what was weird was like, it was kind of like, in Indiana Jones where he like takes the step off the cliff, and like it's that. I mean, it was that like, absolutely. I'm like, holy shit. And it was there. You put your foot down, is there. It's like, oh, okay. So you're saying we're going to do a lot. All right. What's that going to look like? It's like, well, this is what the next piece looks like. Push. What? Okay. And it was there again, and it was like, oh, all right, so like maybe I can trust this. All right, let's give this a shot. And I mean, literally like that, like there was a moment where I felt that push and taking that first step, and like it changed everything for me in I mean, looking back on the last like 3 years, like wow, that moment was like the turning point that made everything else after that possible. And so having launched the ministry that was seated in that moment, we launched back in November. And I can look back and see how like almost every decision about that ministry was some sort of like intentional leaping off into this void of what seemed like nothingness, but was really like this is where the things come together to make it happen.
That creative space of infinite possibility, which really tends to just look like a big dark scary hole of nothingness. It's gonna eat you alive. Yeah. So Rev Dan's sharing with us that he got shoved into the unknown. Jazmin leaped. and Luchan got dragged.
Yeah.
So there's more than one way for spirit, for your dharma, for your life's work, for God, whatever the magical thing is, whatever you call it, it will get you where you need to go. It's not always when I say leap, I think of like this beautiful ballerina like leaping, but I love hearing all these real stories. It's like, yeah, it wasn't that pretty. It wasn't pretty.
Yeah, you don't want to see me doing like the ballerina leap. Like, I ain't gonna, it's the push or nothing. I mean,
I love in the comments, Rev Chris from Virginia is here with us tonight. Hi, Rev Chris. She said, I used the Indiana Jones example in the video I recorded today for my ministerial musing this week. So great minds. That Indiana Jones scene is just permeating. I don't know if anyone else has seen the Indiana Jones film or that scene has come up for them this week. I will share my unknown, and then we're gonna do a little bit more from the panel, but then we're gonna open it up to the audience. So if you have shares or questions for our panel, go ahead and get those ready. My most recent leap into the unknown was last May. I was living in San Diego in a challenging situation, to say the least. And as y'all know, Rev Karen Frost, her and I are spiritual partners and prayer partners, and she called me for prayer one night, and I got on the phone. I said, all right, what would you love prayer for? And she said, life is so good. My faith is so strong. My connection to spirit is just so powerful. I'm just firing on all cylinders. I just want more of that. And the proper response would have been like, oh, great. I love that. I can totally know that for you, going straight to prayer. Yeah, that's not what I did. I started bawling, hysterically bawling. And I was like, I can't do that. I don't have that. I don't have the faith. I don't know where God is. Like all of the things. In that moment, I was crushed. I was crushed by life. Nothing was working. Things were just failing and falling and dying left and right. And here comes one of my dearest friends, and she's like, God is good and faith is great. And I'm like, no, it was horrible. But you all know how great Reverend Karen is. So what did she do? She laughed from a good place, of course, because it was a funny moment, because she said, I thought I was calling for prayer for me, but turns out I was calling for prayer for you. So here we go, or going to prayer. And she prayed me up, and we jumped off the phone. She's like, all right, we're going to go journal for 5 minutes, or as long as we need to journal, and we're going to come back like the good spiritual leader that she is. So we did that. I journaled, those download journals. Have y'all ever had that where like you put the pen to the paper and like you don't even know what's happening? Like your hands moving and like there's ink happening, but I didn't know what words were coming onto this paper. I wrote 5 pages before I stopped. I had no idea what these pages said. When I got done, I looked up and I read it. It was 5 pages about how miserable my soul was in San Diego. What on earth? What kind of psychopath is miserable in San Diego? First of all, it's literally paradise. Like, what is wrong with me, right? I'm miserable in San Diego. Furthermore, my soul is saying, not only are you miserable in San Diego, but you really miss LA. I'm like, LA? Like, traffic, smog, riots? Like, really? LA? Like, interesting. All right, interesting. So fast forward, of course I called Karen back and moved to LA the next month, packed up and left. And I didn't know anything other than I had some friends I could stay with in LA for the summer. I don't know if y'all remember the end of May, the beginning of June, but that was when George Floyd was murdered. I moved to LA the week that George Floyd was murdered. So here I am packing up, unknown, talk about unknown, driving to the one city in the country that's got full curfew, lockdown, maybe not the one city, but talk about leaping into the unknown. But Spirit said, just get there, and I promise you, before it's time to go, you're going to know what to do next. And that happened for almost 6 months. I traveled and I went from place to place, and I landed in Colorado. And it has been such a treat. It has been such a treat. People, school, work, all of the things are working. So I'm not sure what the adjective was. I don't know if it was leaping. I mean, kind of. It was certainly jumping, driving. I didn't get shoved. I didn't get dragged. Uh, felt a little more in power in the choice, but it ended up being one of the greatest things I've done in a really long time. Yeah. So panelists, I'm going to open the floor up to you real quick. Of the three of you, anything profound, hilarious, uncensored you want to say about life when it comes to leaping into the unknown?
I'll go. So it's been coming up for me recently to talk about my domestic abuse history. I'm a survivor of domestic abuse. I've been in recovery for 5 years from emotional abuse and also financial abuse. And a lot of times when people hear about abuse or domestic violence, the first thing we think of is, the physical kind, getting a black eye. And so, but the effects of the other forms of domestic abuse can be lasting and really make imprints on our emotions and on our brains as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's been coming up for me recently to talk more about that again. And it really reminded me, God reminded me how powerful our individual stories are, and how it's so important for us to share them as we're healing through our journeys, because our healing journey is going to be, until we're no longer, till we're no longer in this flesh. We're going to continue to be growing, evolving, and healing. And so just, a reminder to be unafraid to share your story and know that your identity is always evolving. And so I don't have to be ashamed of that part of me, or I don't have to put it to the side and only speak about being on the other side. What I found is, where I am now and where I used to be, there's this invisible bridge here. And there's so many women and men that haven't been able to cross that bridge yet. And so a part of, leaping into the unknown, or being led into the unknown, or stumbling or fumbling into the unknown, is really, revisiting ourselves in the process and helping other people, because what we do is really about other people. We do the work on ourselves, and then we turn around and we show and teach people what we've done effectively. And so part of that leaping into the unknown is having to cross that invisible bridge again and revisit that story, but then to hold someone's hand and then to bring them across the bridge with me. And, that kind of goes to what Luchan and Dan were saying, like we leap into the unknown every day. And we really do, when we wake up, we can have a day planned, we can have our to-do list, but then we also have to make room for God. And that's the unknown part. And that's the magical part. And that's where the miracles come in. The part that we can't plan. The magic is in the unknown. And it's scary. It can be scary as heck some days. But, I think learning to embrace the unknown is key, because there's so much that, is left to our surprise that is a blessing for us. Just like what you just shared about your journey. You had no clue what you were getting into going to LA, and how it wound you up in, Colorado, the unknown. But it was beautiful, because you released that in that humility it takes to walk in the unknown too,
Yeah. And the things that unfolded in that 6 months, well, just in my time in LA, the racial conversations and healing that I was able to be a part of, the things that I was able to face by being so deep in that culture and in that energy and in the heat and the all of that stew of emotion in LA, those weeks changed me, in so many ways, and all of the places I stopped along the way before I got here certainly changed me. And I know that I had a feeling Spirit was calling me to Colorado, but I wasn't willing. So Spirit's a tricky little one. So I landed in Oregon first for a month with family, with friends. Like, it was very easy, nice. I'd never lived outside of California before. So Spirit got me to Oregon to be like, look, you're out of California. It's okay. It's fun. You can do it. Yeah. Tricky Spirit. Luchan, Rev.
Yeah, so I shouldn't be surprised that I'm going to find myself talking about this here, because I find myself talking about it in a lot of places. I just had no idea it was coming up tonight. So Jazmin, thank you for sharing what you just shared, because another huge motivator for me is, and I haven't really figured out how to like teach this. I don't know that it's something you can teach, but like the fact that we're not here for ourselves, we're here for each other. Yeah. Right. And so much of our lives, we think and feel or are told or taught or shown or whatever, that like it, like my story's about me. And yeah, like to a certain point, sure, because there needs to be somebody in the middle of that story, but like my story is for me to bring and help other people. And I think that was actually, it's actually kind of interesting. It really is tied all together into this whole leaping into the unknown thing, because as soon as I kind of had this assistance forward, it really shifted all that. Like my story started to shift from being about me to being about how that story brought me to other people, to help other people, gave me the tools to help other people, the skills to create things for people who needed things, or guide others through other scenarios, or whatever it is. My story went from being the thing that I thought defined me to being the thing that allowed me, that gave me the position to do and help and be, right. So
Dan, can I stop you? You there for a second? I want to make sure that gets heard. That was a really big deal, that statement you just said there. The thing that I thought defined me, the thing that I was using to define me, was the thing that allowed me. So it wasn't the thing that defined me. It wasn't a label for me, but it turned, what I'm hearing, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that it actually turned out to be a tool, a way for the divine to use me for other people. This thing that I thought defined me made me a tool for greater good.
And I'm literally shown that like every day, that, you know, I mean, the pain, the hurt, the suffering, the trauma, the whatever it is we think we whatever it is we've gone through, whatever it is we think we're going through, you know, if we go 10 years from now and look back at that, I mean, that's the thing that's become our greatest tool, our greatest skill, the thing we are the best at. And so being able to offer that to other people, being able to, you know, demonstrate that or walk that or gift that to the world is so much more important than me. And I mean, I think to be gentle with ourselves too, right? Like we are all working through our own thing, and not to belittle anything that we've ever gone through or are going through. And we are where we are, and that's like absolutely perfect, right? Like let's not bypass or ignore any of that. Let's go through that, because it's the going through that gets us out to the other side with that skill, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, in no way do I mean to, you know, belittle anything I went through or minimize that or anything anyone else went through. That's the meat of it, right? That's where we get that. That's why it means so much. That's why we become so good at it.
Right. So much of our lives we spend trying to like protect ourselves and each other from pain, from hurt, from trauma, from heartbreak. But then when we're able to actually have those experiences and we get the support that we need to heal those pains, to heal those traumas, and we can get to the other side of it. Just like you're saying, Rev Dan, when we can look back, we can see that thing that hurt me so bad, that I maybe spent so much energy trying to avoid, or someone else tried to help me avoid, made me who I am and gave me this tool to do good that I wouldn't have had access to. So, and again, reiterating, Dan, this is not to minimize the pain. This is not to like say, so glad that horrible thing happened to you. We don't want to wish this pain on anyone. But really getting to that sacred space of honoring the wholeness of our life's experiences and that of those we love. Thank you, Rev Dan. Luchan?
As I keep hearing us talk about the unknown and everything, something struck me about how oftentimes we think it's hate we're battling, or racism or sexism or all these things. But as I listen, I realize that our only real opposition, our only real rivalry is our own comfort. And that's why we fear the unknown, because the unknown represents disrupting the comfort. I'm comfortable. I don't want to have to look for a new job. I don't want to find a new partner, even though the relationship is old and played out. That's what the unknown represents. But let's just be honest. It's human nature that we don't grow into our bigger self, our God self, without pain. Let's just be honest. If we think about all the times we got our behind kicked in life, what was on the other side of that butt kicking? We were more beautiful and more polished than we could have imagined. And that's what that reminds me of. And so, Audra, how you talk about getting laughed at when you called the Reverend, and my grandmother does that to me every single time I call her. Every single time I call my grandma, no matter how pitiful I get, she laughs at me. And it's always the same thing. Grandma, how could you laugh? So this is terrible. All she does is laugh. And I always remember she's laughing because she knows I'm gonna be fine. Not only am I gonna be fine, I'm gonna be greater than I thought I was. The pain is there for that. And I use this analogy all the time, is when we go to the playground, and even if you're not a sports fan, I want everybody to know this. Next time you go to a playground with a basketball court, notice that there are always two different courts, always. There's that one court where everybody's friendly. The age range is anywhere from 7 to 70. You got that old guy with his shorts all the way up to his nips, and he does that same underhanded shot where he yells out players like Barry, with Rick Barry. Really, this dude just shot out Barry. You didn't say Steph. We have that at that court. Listen, that is a very good court to play on if you're trying to make friends and stay out the house and just enjoy yourself. That court is for that. But then there's that other court where people are leaping out of the gym, where people are doing 360-degree dunks in Timberlands. You go to the hole too quickly, you might lose your teeth. There's that court. And guess what? If you're going to elevate your game, you get to step on that court and you don't know what's about to happen to you. And after it does, you get to sign up and do it again. And then you get to do it again. See, what we want to do is look cool while we're chasing our dreams. And let's just be honest, that is not a cool process. It's not.
It's not cool.
I'm telling myself, I'm only talking. I've tried to look cool and be. It doesn't work, homie. First of all, you're not cool. Stop trying to be. And second, it doesn't look cool. Real happiness doesn't look cool. Remember how cool Shaq was his rookie year? Look at him when he won his first ring. He did not look cool. Like, look at him crying right there. That's so cute. Happiness doesn't look. So let's just be honest. Let's welcome the unknown. That's what it's there for. One of my father's favorite jokes, because I was so afraid of the dark growing up, was, boy, you were created in the dark. Quit being afraid of the dark. I mean, we all were. So
we all were.
The universe is pure darkness. That's what the universe is. And what we are, that's the unknown. Infinite. Is just walking in there. Let's just be okay with looking stupid. Let's be okay with getting trampled, because we know what's on the other side. That's what I got from watching Tina Turner's documentary. She talked about the pain, and that woman just flashed that pretty smile of hers through the whole thing, talking about horrific things that she's seen in her life. And all she did was smile through the entire thing. That's what our pain is there for. When I look at that guy who's good at talking to girls and just whatever come out his mouth, and you like, oh man, let me keep him away from my girl. Oh man, that dude talks way too smooth, right? That's a dude who got his heart broken over and over and over again. He just ain't telling you
Over and
that part.
over.
You know,
Over and over. He sure did.
the darkness is there to catapult us to our greatness, and it's not going to happen unless it hurts enough. You got to get a good kick in the butt to where you hop up and say, ooh, let me get on my game again. That's what it's there for.
So true. So true. Thank you, Luchan. I want to get to some of these comments. This is such good, juicy stuff. Luchan, you are cracking them up. They're saying cracking them up. Happiness is chasing your dreams. It doesn't look cool. Yes, we got to get out of that middle school mindset of looking cool so we can accomplish the big shit. So well said, Rev Chris. So well said. Moderator Derek saying, so true and well put. Kathleen Bean saying, comfort is so overrated. Such a hiding place. Ooh, yeah. Kathleen, that burns. It's so true. It hurts. Ouch. Comfort zone, the hiding place. Ooh, wow. Kathleen, yes, I'm on the court of elevation, she said. Let's see what's next. So true. Gift your story to the world, guys. Love, Chris says, I love what you're saying, Rev Dan. The crazy thing is when we show up for the others instead of ourselves, we end up with far greater blessings than if we were only looking out for ourselves. So true, you guys. Man, we got a powerful audience here tonight saying great things. Yeah, wow, this is deep stuff. Want to pause real quick and remind everyone that Spirit Uncensored is a volunteer community at this time. So your love offerings and donations are greatly appreciated. All of these rock stars here tonight are volunteering their time. So if you have anything you would love to give, if you want to hold it, if you're gonna give digitally, if you're gonna give physically, if you want to hold it in your hands, I'm gonna pray over it for a second, just knowing that what goes out comes back tenfold, knowing that money is the energy of the divine operating, giving from one soul to another soul of value, of love, of creation for even more dreams to come true. The love that we give, the energy that we give is a piece of ourselves, and it is so good. Thank you all for being with us tonight. And Derek, our moderator Derek, went and put our text to give number in the chat. So, and if you're on audio, you can donate on spirituncensored.org, or you can text the amount you would love to donate simply to 323-784-0806. Again, 323-784-0806, and it will prompt you with what to do next. At this time, I would love to open it up to the audience for questions, comments, for if you're willing to share your stories of healing or leaping into the unknown. We are here to serve you, support you, and connect with you. So also, Derek, before I forget, if you have anything, feel free to jump in and share if there's any comments or questions or anything we need to answer. You are on it.
Don't be shy, y'all. We can't see you.
Quiet audience tonight. Wow, y'all just gonna throw those gems in there. Okay, if y'all just want to listen, don't worry. We could talk. Don't you worry about that. We sure can. But I know some of y'all have some really good things to say. So if you do have something to say, you can put it in the chat or raise your hand, or Derek, let me know what you see. But I really want to take a moment and dive in a little deeper, because this is Spirit Uncensored. This is the safe space to talk about those things, and I just want to thank you, Jazmin, for really opening up and being willing to be that vulnerable space to speak to your personal pain and survival. And wow, I know that has been So big. And Luchan, you really caught me when you said, I'm going to mess it up. We don't have rewind on this, but you said something about along the lines of happiness isn't exciting or fun or cool or something like that, And what that really reminded me of is healthy relationships. Talking about leaping into the unknown, that boringness of healthy relationships, right? Talking about Tina Turner and the excitement of some of her relationships, but what we know about the lack of health, right, in those environments. So we talk about leaping into the unknown in relationships, be that with community, be that with those we love, be that with friendship, just really pausing to honor and bring to the conversation that sometimes that's boring. Sometimes it can get a little tricky thinking that like just because something's exciting, right, that means that it's for us. But have y'all ever had that experience of the thing that wasn't that exciting turned out to be the gem?
Yes, definitely. Um, Plenty of times I've had that experience where I've gone in thinking, "Oh, this is going to be boring," or I think that what's beautiful about New Thought is we talk a lot about perception.
Mm.
And so when I go into something with a preconceived notion, what I got to remember is, okay, what if I changed my attitude about what I think is fun?
Ooh, what
So,
if I changed my attitude about what I think is fun? All right, tell us more about that, Luchan.
so as a young man, um, I was a battle MC. I went to state, battling different MCs and living that life and meeting people, and just I was a wild dude back then. And come on, you never would have thought I'd be a family man. Like what? That's boring. And now that I'm here, I'm like, I can't believe I took this long to experience this kind of joy.
Mm.
I can't. I
Wow.
Why did it take me this long to
Ooh,
experience this kind of
I
joy?
feel that. I feel
And
that joy, Luchan.
Bruce Lee talks about being like water. And
Mm-hmm.
when it's time for you to just when the water it's time to just take the form of something, it just allows itself to do that. And life is just so much more enjoyable when I do that. I'm not talking to nobody but myself. And so when it comes to leaving a relationship that is a little too exciting,
Mm.
um, I remember that faith is a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And the
It
only way
is.
to use it and strengthen it to make it accurate is to test it. And so when our faith
Mm.
gets tested, it's an opportunity to be great. It's an opportunity to
Mm.
rediscover ourselves. And that's where I have to think from. I'm only saying this so that when I come across a growth experience in the unknown, y'all can check me and be like, "Hey, rewind the tape. You said that, bro." But
We
because I
got it
don't
on
always.
record.
That's it. That's it. I'm not gonna pretend like I always feel this way. It's sun outside right now, but when it
Mm.
gets cloudy again, I'm gonna need y'all to check me and be like, "Listen,
Mm-hmm.
the, let your faith be the light. You know the sun is still shining just because you can't see it. And so if I allow this faith to carry me through this dark tunnel I'm in, that's all I need.
Mm.
But it's not supposed to be sunshiny every day. It's just not. I know y'all are from
No.
SoCal, but it's not.
Got that Florida sunshine, that San Diego sunshine. But it doesn't, that sunshine doesn't grow those crops by itself.
Right. You're right. There we go.
Sure doesn't.
Can I flip this on its head for a minute?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Sure can.
I think what gets me about the calm, the boring, is that shit's scary, right? Because like, if we're not used to the quiet is frightening. If we're not used to the unknown is frightening. If we're not used to it being okay, the okay is scary. And I think like so often for something to just be okay, like that triggers us. It triggers it can trigger me. I think it's true for so many people. Like that triggers us. It can trigger us to like so crazy deep levels of having gone through like whatever experience that helped create that story that we think we are, like where we are, back to that conversation again a little bit, but we think we are this certain thing. And so we have to then define and shape and shift our life based on being that thing, which means we have to try and control whatever's happening so that we're not questioning or just, or uncomfortable based, we can't break these boundaries. So we have to like try and shift and maintain that thing. And if it's not triggering that same stuff, if it's possibly something else, something different, something new, like that sends off all these like alarms, man. And we do some crazy shit to try and like maintain that, whatever that box is, right? So like, the like the boring relationship, man, that doesn't work. Like we show up with all kinds of stuff, and we like, whether it's sabotage or just some crazy unconscious response to like, we get threatened by the boring, right? And this isn't just in like, partner relationships. We show up in community with this stuff too, right? Like,
feeling a little called out, Dan. Feeling a little called out right now.
So much love. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna come back to that because I'm not gonna shy away from it. But Rev Chris, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, we've got a question from Rev Chris, and then I've got a question over here in the chat we're gonna bring to the panel as well. Go ahead, Rev Chris.
It's not so much a question as a comment about this whole, you asked a second ago to hear people's leap of faith story.
Yes, absolutely.
And I was thinking about this in relation to, when you look at my life, I have these like giant leaps of faith where I just like get in the car and move across the country, right? Like that's my signature move, apparently.
Well, not everyone knows that. So for those of you who don't know Rev Chris, she is the minister that jumps in her car and moves across the country. Please continue.
Three times. So I recently just moved from Napa, California to Falls Church, Virginia to take the senior minister position at Celebration Center for Spiritual Living, which is an awesome center. Check us out. We're at a completely different time from Spirit Uncensored. You can do both. But what's really funny is you're talking about like this boring, like I'm an Enneagram 8. Like my whole thing is like chasing adventure and like chasing pleasure. Sorry, 7.
She's a
7. I'm a 7. Audra's an 8. I'm a 7. So my whole thing is chasing like pleasure and adventure and fun, right? And so it's like, like the leap of faith of like driving across country with my ex and 65 plants and 3 cats and a dog and a budget truck and a Prius and like another truck. Like that was great. Like that was a really fun leap of faith. But the real leap of faith that I'm doing right now is that I took a job sitting at the same desk in the same office for a minimum of 3 years, doing the work with a community, like showing up every day to like have the hard conversations and like work through the grief with them and like be there for their joys and be there for their sorrows and like step into this role of like being a senior minister for a community that doesn't really know me that well. Like that's the real leap of faith, is like showing up to the job every single day. Amen. And so like, as you're talking about like the boring, it's like, it's not boring, but only because I've done the work to shift my idea of like what is fun, what is pleasure. Like it is pleasure to like be so in tune with my community that I'm the one they call when something goes wrong. Like that to me is a different idea of like chasing the adventure. And so that's the leap of faith.
I love that. So rich. Thank you so much, Rev Chris. Oh, such good stuff here, you guys. Oh my goodness. I want to bring to the panel, Jazmin, you answered it, but we have Jazmin and Nichole with us tonight in the audience. Hi, Jazmin and Nichole. Jazmin and Nichole asked, what is the secret/best practices to venture back into the unknown after an unsuccessful attempt? Such a great question. My answer, Jazmin's answer was enjoy the process and keep going in. Very good answer, Jazmin. My answer would be to pause and reflect and see if you can't see how what is for your best is something different than that. B, get reacquainted with your faith and know that if it didn't go well, it is only, and I do mean this with all of my being, only because there is something greater out there for you. And I would say, trust that there were gifts, this unfolding, that leap into the unknown that maybe felt like a leap straight into a glass wall. I know I've had those experiences, or a brick wall. If you can pause in the moment and try to see how that experience as a whole is for your good, and sometimes you can't, and that's okay if you can't, just pause, stay strong, fill yourself up with the people and the things that you love, revitalize yourself, re-energize yourself so that you can go back in and be freaking gentle with yourself. If you leaped and you fell, or it hurt, or you didn't land right, oh my, please, please, please be gentle. Be gentle with yourself. This thing called life, no one knows how to do it right. We are all doing our best. So please, please be gentle with yourself. Gentlemen, what would you say to Jazmin and Nichole about getting back into the unknown?
I'm going to say it only seems unsuccessful right now.
Touche.
Right? Like in a year from now or 5 years from now, it's always easier to look back and go, oh, wow, if that didn't happen, that wouldn't have happened and that wouldn't have happened, right? So you can't jump into the unknown and miss.
Ooh, you can't jump. Oh, Derek, write that down. You can't jump into the unknown and miss. Ooh,
right.
We got some fire here tonight, y'all. Ooh, Luchan, before I let you answer, Luchan's jumping up around. He's getting all excited about that. Rev Chris shared her answer in the chat, which is super profound. She said, my answer to that question would be to find the magic that is available in the unknown and take baby steps into it in a way that brings you joy and excitement rather than fear. And yes, be gentle. Ooh. Damn, y'all. Whoo, we got, I'm all fired up, but we only got 3 minutes, y'all. So, Luchan, you better make it good.
And you know that's not right. You want me to go after that?
That was a little cold-blooded.
Goodness gracious.
Wrap it up.
Bring us home, Luchan. Bring us home.
Let's just talk about how you can't jump into the unknown and miss. Let's talk about that right there.
Talk about that.
Because that's beautiful. It's so only true. I'm only a failure when I stop. It's all about perception. And
that's the talk title right there. Yeah, Rev Chris. I think every one of these panelists, maybe even some guests, have got a title and a talk and a story to tell about not missing when you can't miss when you leap into the unknown.
At all. Listen, we not everybody knows the story about how Muhammad Ali became Muhammad Ali, but I'll be quick. And his hardworking father bought him a bike when he was a little boy. I'm pretty sure he didn't even have a bike that long. It was like maybe an hour or so. He sets it down, it gets stolen. They go to the police station to fill out a report. The police station just happened to have a boxing gym there, and the rest is history. So he could have easily looked at that situation and been like, no, man, they stole my bike, and not seen this beautiful thing that he was led to. That changed everyone's. I mean, come on, we've all in some way been touched by this man's words, his courage, and all that. We wouldn't have got any of that had that bike not gotten stolen. We wouldn't have got Malcolm X had not Malcolm Little went to prison. This is the unknown.
Yeah.
We never know what we're going to go into, but if we tell ourselves right now that all of it is God, then I really don't care what happens. You know, come on now, the four of us remember gangster rap and remember heavy metal. It's a very spiritual thing to yell out, I don't give a F. What you're really saying is God is all there is. That's all you're saying.
Oh, by the way, you can say the word here. This is Spirit Uncensored, BT Dubs. You ain't gotta censor yourself.
I love that.
But,
all right, for sure.
Whatever. Chris in the chat, I'm loving this. Chris says, we can't say we're jumping into the unknown and then try to control what is waiting for us. That's why it's called the unknown. Such a gem, Chris. Thank you so much for sharing that. Much appreciated. We are at 7:00 on the dot, y'all. And here at Spirit Uncensored, we honor time. We honor each of you. We honor each of the panelists, each of the guests, those of you with us on Facebook Live, those of you with us here in Zoom. Wow, what a joy. So much good, so special to share this evening. Jazmin's got pages and pages of notes. I'm so grateful Derek's been keeping it in the chat. We got this on fire. We love you all so much. Oh my goodness. Text to give if you felt moved tonight, if this fed your soul. And if you want to play with us again here at the Spiritual Playground, you know where to find us at spirituncensored.org. I will go ahead and keep the Zoom room open. If anyone would like to stay, chat, ask questions, anything like that, you don't have to leave. But I want to close us out. I can't even pray right now because this is too fire. I'm not even gonna close it. All right, we're just gonna cut. We're gonna stop recording, but we're gonna keep going. So we love y'all. Happy Sunday from Spirit Uncensored. Happy anniversary, Rev Karen Frost and Ronnie. Thank you to the panelists. Oh man, mwah. We love you guys. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Derek.
My pleasure.
All right, y'all. We are not recording, but we are still here.
Yeah.
And